Hi,
YouTube.
Instagram. Oh my gosh, YouTube. What are we even on? Hi, YouTube. I just spent too much time on Instagram this week. It's a problem.
I know. Okay. I'm going to hit record on my GarageBand.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, recording.
Woohoo. Okay, and then you want to count?
Sure. 3, 2, 1.
Did we get the clap in sync?
I don't think we did
Yes.
because it looked really off on my side.
Really? It looked really on my side.
Dang it. Okay.
We'll figure it out. All right.
Okay. Hello and welcome to another episode of Tea with Claudia and B. That's Claudia.
That's B.
And in this week's episode, we are going to be talking about the 2009 BBC version of Emma, which stars Romola Garai, and Jonny Lee Miller. And you guys, I'm so excited to talk about this one. But first, we always have our obsessions.
It's our favorite.
It's so good. It's so good. I've been waiting all month for it. So we always do like our little obsessions thing. And
I know, me too.
we were talking about, before we started recording of like, you got your obsession figured out and all that. And we both kind of chose this, this version of Emma as our obsession. So that's fitting well. But I mean,
yeah,
really
seriously.
just BBC miniseries in general could be an obsession because they are too good.
Yeah. It's just such a well done one, and everything about it. It combines what is missing in the other versions. I feel like it just combines everything together into this nice little pie that I just love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
It's perfect.
So I think, okay, so with this one, I really love how they like go in depth with the behind the story a little bit. Like they build the characters more, they give you more history so you can understand where they're coming from and why they are certain, like the way they are, you know? And I just love that so much. I think it just adds so much to the whole story.
Oh,
you know?
It does, because none of the other versions talk about like the triangle of the kids, Emma, Frank, and Jane. And it's, the first time I saw this, I remember being like, I never thought of Emma this way.
Yeah.
And and I loved it. And I love it still. It's so good.
Yeah, I think that's actually one of my favorite things that they do, because it does draw such a perfect parallel between Frank Churchill, Jane Fairfax, and Emma Woodhouse. They all lose their mothers at a young age, and then from that, their lives are like changed forever. And Emma is kind of like the lucky one that gets to stay home because her dad is in a position to be able to like support his children still and keep them there. Where the other ones, they have to kind of like go with live with different family members. But they all have like something. I mean, obviously they all lose their mother, but they all kind of like lose something that later plays a role, you know, because like yeah, Emma's the one that's like lucky enough to stay home and like grow up with her family. But her dad is so affected by her mother's passing that she's kind of stuck at home with her dad to take care of him, because he's like so shaken up by that he can't really like let her go or be comfortable leaving the house, you know, things like that. So even though she is lucky in one sense, you can kind of see how she's not so lucky in another, and that it affects her in a way, you know. But I just love that. I love how you can see all three of them like have that bond or that that special like parallel in their life,
connection.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, I guess, should we just go straight into the topic then, because this is the topic and it is our obsession? And so
yeah, we're so obsessed we could just talk a whole episode about it.
Right? Why don't we spend the next 45 minutes to probably closer to an hour? Let's be real. But
yeah let's do it.
So good. Okay. So we talked about the backstory. I love the opening with the red and the gold and like the pictures and the music. And
Mhm.
I just think that's so fitting of the story.
Mhm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? With showing the credits in the beginning, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, the aesthetic value of this one is really lovely. Last week we talked about the 2020 version of Emma and we talked about how pretty it was. And this one is so pretty, but it's kind of more traditional Jane Austen Regency era. You know,
Yeah.
it follows, it has a lot of the same pretty colors and it's very vibrant, and everything that they do in it is really awesome, but it's a little bit more traditional. Although I have to say it kind of surprised me because they have like the hair. All of the girls have very traditional hairstyles for that time, except for Emma. She's the only one that has kind of a more modern spin on like
Hmm.
her hair, you know, which
Hmm.
I love how they made her look because she's gorgeous in it. But I just thought that was interesting how like she was set apart that way.
I wonder if that they did that because you know how in other areas of her life she doesn't really like, she's been meaning to read more all the time and she doesn't, she's been
Hmm.
meaning to practice more and she doesn't, maybe she just doesn't really want to spend the time having her like maid do her hair, maybe she
Oh
just
yeah.
is like wants it quick and done and so that she can take care of her dad or you know
Yeah. Yeah,
so
totally. I could see that too. I was thinking, maybe it was because Emma is a little bit modern in her assessment of being like, I don't have to get married because I know I'm not in a position where I have to be, so I'm gonna do a different approach to life, you know? So I just thought maybe it was like her having a bit of a different focus or something along those lines. So, but I can see both of those actually. I think your point of like she she doesn't get caught up in like the requirements that girls are supposed to live up to. So maybe that would be the same thing with her fashion and her hair.
mhm. Yeah, it could be. I loved her hair though, I thought it was really pretty
It
the
was.
way she
She's
did it, like
so pretty.
I I just was obsessed with her hair and I was like, I've got to do my hair like that. And I used to have rags that I when I was little and did my hair like that. So I think I'm gonna go get a pillowcase and cut it up and do
Hmm.
that with my hair.
I was
You
thinking
know,
that
wear them in
too.
rags more.
Yeah.
Really?
My mom used to do my
We
hair in rag
should
rollers. So-
yeah, me too. We should totally get a
Mhm.
pillowcase and cut it up and then we should like record a podcast with our hair in rags.
Okay,
Wouldn't that
let's
be
do
fun?
it. Yeah.
That'd be so
You know,
fun.
if there was one thing I could change about my appearance, like anything, it would be my hair. I want it to be like curly and huge. I want like a fro. I want like the curliest of hair. So when I was
Uh-huh.
little, I even wanted curly hair and I'd always like beg my mom to always put my hair in curlers and then like make it super curly like a princess's hair. And I just never really grew out of that. I still want it to be curly, but my hair is the straightest in
Yeah.
the world. So I got the
Yeah.
wrong end of the stick. It's fine.
Aw. Yeah.
We always want what we
But
can't have.
does it curl though with when you curl well? Oh no, you skipped out for
Oh, can you hear me now?
me. What did you say? Yeah.
Can you can, okay. Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. But did you hear my question?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Did you when you wear it in rags, does it curl well?
Yeah, it did. I haven't done it in several years, so I don't know if it does now or if it was just like my little child hair that did that. But yeah, it lasted
Yeah.
a long time when my mom would do my hair like that. So
Oh, that's so
we should
cool.
try it. Let's
I
see what
love that.
happens.
Yeah, for real. Um, we should. Okay. So I just thought this version is very we talked about this too. It's the most realistic, I feel like.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm not like a history like buff or anything, but I feel like it's probably the most realistic to the time. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I think it is too. I mean, I'm definitely not a history major by any means, but I think that they did a good job of staying accurate. But also, I think they did a really good job at portraying genuine reactions from the characters.
yes.
you know?
Yes, I do too. Yeah, because I definitely, especially the last Emma we watched. I mean, the stark difference is crazy. This
Mhm.
is just so much more real, so much more natural, so much more believable.
Mhm.
I don't know, especially just even the difference with the Harriets, like, and I know that it's like a difference of direction, but this
Mhm.
Harriet was just so much more just like genuine and sweet, and like you just loved her. I just loved her so much more because I loved everybody so much more in this because everyone I just felt like was more genuine. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they took time to build their character and to explain their character so that you really got what they were like, what was happening in their head, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I
For
really
sure.
liked when they had the couple times where they had, like, the narration come in and kind of explain or set up a little bit of the story. And then later on in the it's a 4 episode series. So later on in the episodes, you saw different scenes where you could kind of see Emma's inner dialogue and like hear what she's thinking. Or the scene where she's mad at Mrs. Elton and she's like walking through town, like voicing all of her thoughts. I loved how they did that, how they kind of sparingly did the internal dialogue, but when you got it, it helped really move the story along. I thought that was genius.
Yeah.
So
And
good
I thought
choice there.
it was sweet that it was Mr. Knightley that narrated it in the beginning.
Yes. Oh, and also that, like they kind of started off the first episode um with like Emma and her sister and the two Knightley brothers when they're younger. And I loved how they did that because they really set up Emma
Yes.
and Mr. Knightley's relationship and kind of got like it made you like really love them,
Yes.
you know, and kind of see how since they were children, they've had that special relationship where they've had a good bond and a very open dialogue between each
Yeah.
other. And then that kind of just moved along in the story. So I loved that. Thought that was such a good choice
Yeah.
in writing and all of that. Um,
I know. And on that note, I have a
mhm.
question.
Yeah.
So I noticed that in this one, they made it seem like that Emma set up Isabella and John, but I don't remember that in the book.
No, I don't think that that was in the book from what I remember reading on it. And I think that was kind of
Okay.
a creative choice where they were like maybe showing how Emma maybe got it in her head because she saw them pairing off more, like how Mr. Knightley was like, if that happens, it's going to be their choice, you know? And then Emma's all like,
Yeah.
oh, like maybe that's kind of where the genesis of Emma Matchmaker came from, of her being like, oh, I had that idea first. And then they ended up
Yeah.
dating and getting married, you know? Um, but yeah, I don't think that was in the book, or not from what I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember it either, but I just like
Mhm.
had to make a note because I was like, did I miss something? Because I there were some things that I've missed in the book, and I am like,
Mhm.
it's hard for me to like keep which story is the book story and which story is which version story.
Right? Especially this month between watching
Like,
all of the movies and reading the book, it's like really actually messed me up a
yeah,
lot.
I know. It's like a mind game. It's like, whoa,
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'll read
Crazy.
something and then I'm like, oh, that was in the book. I
Crazy.
didn't realize that.
Yeah.
It's
And then like
thrown
for
me off.
some reason, like I actually like went ahead in the book to the scene where Knightley and Emma get together. And for the longest time, I thought that the line, if I loved you less, I might be able to talk about it more. I for the longest time, for some reason, like I remember the last time I read Emma, I remember thinking, oh, that line's not in the book. And but then I like looked and it is in the book. And I'm like, how did I think for
Oh,
all these years that wasn't in the book and only in the movie when it actually is in the book? Like, what is wrong with me? I don't
that's
know.
so funny. Well, I mean,
Isn't
how
that
are you?
weird?
I mean, it is weird, but it's also not because with all the different versions of it, like it's so easy to
Yeah.
mix up which is which, you know?
I know because that's like my favorite quote. And I remember being sad when I thought that it wasn't in the book. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
but why was I sad? It is in the book. How did I like not, how did I get that confused? I don't
Yeah, I
know.
wonder what it was that like made you think it wasn't, but I'm glad it is in the book because
I
it's such a
know. I don't
sweet
know.
line.
It's the best.
It is.
All right.
Too cute, too cute. Um, Okay,
I
so
know.
watching this one, there were a couple things that I noticed that reading the book, I had kind of started thinking about it being like, oh, this is an interesting thought or a take. And then it's just never represented in the movies, but in this version it is. But I really love um Mr. Knightley and Mrs. Weston's relationship. Because they're like
Mhm.
closer in age than Emma, but Mrs. Weston and Emma were so close, and then so was Knightley. But I always have been like, I wonder how, like, what an interesting dynamic, and they probably had like a really good friendship actually. And then there were several scenes of them just talking, and I liked how they set that up, that there was
I
like
liked.
a good friendship
I did
between
too.
Knightley and Mrs. Weston.
Mhm.
How did you
And
like
do
this
you
Mrs.
notice how
Weston? Oh, sorry, go on, I want to
see,
hear
I
it.
was just about to say no, it's okay. I enjoyed her because they kind of made her look a little worn out and tired in the beginning. And then
Mhm.
as you notice, as she gets married, she like brightens up. And I
Yes,
liked that.
I had noticed that
You
too.
know?
Hmm. Um,
Yeah. And I thought it was very realistic of I don't know, I just thought she was very realistic and I enjoyed her.
yeah, I almost thought she was too
Yeah.
boring in the first episode, but as the episodes went on, I was like, oh, actually, she's really fun. Like, okay. And I think you're right that that was kind of a decision, like an intentional thing to like brighten her up a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
but I didn't recognize
Well,
her at
and it
first.
balances out Mr. Weston.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say, sorry. We go over each other. I think it's because of the delay. But
Yeah.
Mr. Weston like is so very much like obviously his son Frank, very boisterous, very like happy, very blah blah. So like
Hmm.
Miss her personality balances his out really well.
Yeah. Yeah. It actually makes them a really like cute
And that's
couple.
and then same with Jane Fairfax. Frank Fairfax.
He took on her name. They're very modern.
Jane I know, right? Right? Oh my God. No. Jane Fairfax and Frank Churchill, they are actually like, even though how like awful and sad that relationship came about and how Frank dealt with it, but they actually are really good for each other, like with her being reserved and him being super buoyant. I don't know. It just makes it
Hmm.
work.
Yeah, that's so true. That's a really good point. Um,
Mhm.
I didn't recognize the actress at first, but she plays Alice, the younger sister in The Last of the Mohicans, which is one of my favorite movies.
Oh,
So
really? Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
for the first little bit, I was like, she is so familiar. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's her. But
Huh.
obviously it's like years and years later. So it took
That's
me
so
a little bit to
cool.
get it. Yeah. But I really
Yeah,
liked her. I thought that at
that is
first I
really
wasn't
cool.
sure, but I
I
did
like
like her
that.
a lot. Um, how do you feel
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah. Yeah.
Mr.
Oh my gosh. I
Knightley? Oh no, are you frozen? Can you hear me?
yeah, I can. You didn't hear any of that?
Oh,
Did you hear
dang it.
me? No. This sucks.
I know. What is with this internet tonight?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I love him. I love
Yeah,
him.
he
I
did
can't. I
such
just
a
love
good job.
like I just think he is so great for this part.
Hmm.
Like I just he's realistic looking as like someone who would own an estate and like just realistic looking. He did a great job. Um I don't know, I loved him. I loved him and Emma's their dynamic was great too. Just like they're arguing and they're bickering and like I don't know.
Yes.
But yet he was so honorable and so like I just wanted to like snuggle him up.
Yeah, I think he
I
did a
wanted to eat him
really
up.
good job. Yes. Um, he's kind of a weirdo in real life, but he did such a good job in that one.
Is he really?
Yeah, he was married to was he married or was he just engaged to Angelina Jolie for a little
Are you serious?
yeah.
No.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
that's
that's
okay.
funny. She is an interesting character.
She sure is.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. I loved a thing I noticed is when there's like a scene where it shows Isabella with like holding baby Emma and the kids running around and her
Mhm.
face is just like stone cold. And I just like had this flash of my sister Lizzie who has 4 kids and like I see that look on her face so much and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's like the mom like look of like exhaustion, like what's going on? Like, yeah.
Like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
funny.
loved the Knightleys
I
in
know.
this version, how they incorporated the Isabella, the sister, and John Knightley, the brother, and their kids. I thought it was so great.
Yeah,
So also John
I
Knightley is
know. And I
really
actually, a note I
funny.
have. Yeah, isn't he cute? Like, I love it when they have more of John in here because he's funny. He has a good relationship with Emma. Like, he's just like a stand up guy. I don't know.
Yeah,
I like him.
yeah. And he's
I
like
love the Knightleys.
I know they're so great. They're such a good family. Like he's really sassy and doesn't like I don't know. He's kind of like cynical and a little bit of a pill where he'll always like call out the weird or whatever, but also he like really has
Yeah,
Emma's back. Like
yeah.
when he recognizes that there's something happening between Emma and Mr. Elton that Emma isn't aware of, he's like, I would really
Uh
recommend
huh.
like encourage you to, kind of check yourself a little bit. And then she's like, no, you're
Yeah.
mistaken.
Well,
And he's
and that
like,
was
okay, like, sure.
and then when he like for he like took her coat for her and then she looks over at John Knightley and he's like
Uh-huh. He's like, I told
that
you.
was so funny. That was so great. Oh my gosh. And I
Yeah.
put I just love it when Mr. Knightley is playing with the kids. Like my ovaries start to like hurt. Love
I
it.
know, it's the cutest. Okay, I just
Yeah.
realized something though. Um, in Mansfield Park, the same guy who plays
Yeah.
Knightley plays Edmund, doesn't he?
Yeah. I told you, remember I told you that. I was like, yeah, he plays, it's the same guy. Same
Okay, I remember this
Edmund
conversation
Bertram.
now. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's so
I
funny.
know. Isn't that
They
crazy?
that is. I feel like that's a little weird that they have Austen characters overlap, but okay.
I know. I was kind of bummed about that. I was like, ugh, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We're doing Mansfield next month. We'll talk about that when we get there.
We'll have so much more to say about our dear friend Johnny Lee Miller.
See, the thing I like about him though is he's not like a complete like heartthrob when you see him. But
Mhm.
that's not what makes Knightley a heartthrob. It's his actions. Like I'm about to like cry thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like his
Yeah.
actions, like picking, like being like saving the day with Harriet, like telling Emma about his like feelings with how he thinks that like Frank and Jane, there's something going on and how he feels. Like I was reading the book and this week and he like it says that it was his duty to tell Emma about his worries with Frank and Jane. And I was like, oh,
Mhm. Yeah.
sweetie pie.
Yeah, he really has good
Just
intentions and is like I really admire when there's a character that's like really observant and can see what's happening and be like, okay, it's not like I have to interfere or anything, but I can see what's happening. That's very
yeah,
much Knightley.
yeah. Oh, so good.
I like
So
that
good.
a
I love
lot.
him. Me
Um,
too.
what else? I
So
have so many notes
I
from this
have
last
a
one.
I do too. I mean, I doubt we're gonna get to them all, but I did have some questions.
Right.
I probably should write out a chart about like what actually is happening in the book and then like what so that I know because how did Harriet and Emma meet in the book? Do you remember?
I was
Because
trying to
I
think of that
can't
too.
yeah, because when they're sitting, I love that they're like I like in this version that they're having tea and they're talking and it just seems a little bit more realistic than like in the one with like Kate Beckinsale, they're like, oh, she's at church. Here she is. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But this is more realistic. I feel like I vaguely remember, I feel like it was more along the lines of what happened in this one that they were talking and then like she was like, oh,
Yeah.
we have a new parlor boarder. It's Harriet. And then Emma was like, oh, we'll invite her over. And
Yeah, I think it was similar. I don't know if it was necessarily like the tea situation that happened in
yeah,
this one, but I remember reading in the book that there's a conversation she was having with the lady who runs the school, and her talking about Harriet, and then Emma being like, "Oh," like Emma had noticed her and thought she was like so pretty that she was like, "Oh yeah, I would like to meet her and like get to know her," you know.
Mhm. Did you love
Um,
Harriet in this one?
I really did. I think they did such good casting for her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like it when she played her. I don't know. I'm torn between if I like my favorite Harriets. I'm torn between her and then the one in the Kate Beckinsale. I think they both did an equally good job. I can't
Yes.
pick. Like I don't. I really can't pick. I don't
I
know.
know. I know they had
It's
some good
hard.
ones. And
Yeah.
I really love the relationship that Emma and Harriet have in this one because I think one of the things that I just love so much about this version of Emma is that they really do a good job of portraying Emma and showing that like, yeah, she's a little bossy. She's like thinks she has the best solution and stuff like that, but really she has such good intentions at heart, you
Well,
know?
and I liked that they showed her working a lot. Like if you
Yes.
see her with the maid talking about the pies, you see her
Mhm.
like fixing flowers, you see her putting books away, you see her taking care of her dad all the time. Like you see
Mhm.
her with the
Going into
fire.
town and doing all of the
Yes,
like
the
yes.
fire. And so like she
Mhm.
really does like honestly, I mean she is the mistress of the house.
Yeah.
Like she does work. I mean yeah, she has I think she definitely like if she were an Enneagram, I think she'd be an 8. But
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
I
she
could see
and
that.
like the choleric personality, the in charge personality. And I think
Mhm.
that part of it was she was like forced into that after her sister left. She had to
Mhm.
like step up and take care of her dad and um you know, it's just I really enjoyed seeing her work. I thought that was a good it helped you like understand her story more, I feel like,
Yeah,
instead of just
definitely.
seeing her as like this like because I feel like in the new one they made her so like prim like a like bossy princess and I just didn't I don't know.
Yeah. Which is not very
I don't think
accurate to Emma. Um,
no.
Also, I love how like when she and Harriet start hanging out and like she invites her to dinner and she's like giving her cues of how to be like more
Yeah.
refined. Like she's like, "No, don't use that spoon." Like kind of just shaking her head at her to like help her like get it. And so the whole thing is kind of more of like she's not really being bossy. She's like, No, like to be more refined and more like sophisticated, this is what you need to do," because she thought that that was like fitting of Harriet's
Yes.
position, you know. Um, so I just
Yes.
love that. I love how they portray like the sweetness that is Emma's character, where she like does have this life of luxury and like the world at her fingertips seemingly, but then she also doesn't because she has to like stay there and take care of her dad, and she's limited and she hasn't been able to like travel and get
She
everything she wants
can't.
out of life, you
Yeah.
know. But
Mhm.
but then she also like takes
Well, and
care of
also
the
at the
people
same
around her.
time, yeah. And at the same time though, she didn't have any need to travel. She has everything she needs in this little town. She
Hmm.
has, you know, she has the fulfillment of taking care of somebody that's already done. She's mistress of a house already. That's already done. She um has her social interactions with everything. She has her like Mr. Knightley, who's like amazing and awesome for her counsel. I mean, she has everything she needs in Highbury. And like, can I just say, I'm in love with Highbury.
Yes, it's the sweetest place.
I want to live there.
I
I want to
know.
live there.
It's so idyllic. I
It's
love
so,
it.
I know. And like, when I was reading the book this week, Emma, when she's standing there at Ford's waiting on Harriet to like choose a ribbon and like,
Mhm.
Jane Austen just describes the town and just like there's Mr. Perry walking by and there's so and so and I don't know and just the hustle and
Yeah.
bustle of it. It just makes me so happy. Like it
I
just
know,
makes me so happy.
wouldn't that be the best to live in like this little village that you just know most of the people and you can just see people you know and care about as you're doing your day's errands, you know? Like that would be so sweet.
Yeah, I
Love
know.
that.
I know. And I would love that. And I would love to open up like a school, like kind of like Anne Green Gables. And like, I would be like, you know, a teacher there. It'd be so fun.
Yeah, that would be so great.
Wouldn't that be great?
Somewhere in the
That would be so
countryside in
fun.
England.
I know. It's so fun. Um, so I feel like I noticed this. I feel like Harriet at Goddard School is
Mhm.
kind of like looked up to at the school as like kind of the Emma of the school. You know how
Yes.
Emma is like very like well known in Highbury? I feel like
Mhm.
Harriet is like the top dog at the Goddard School.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's very true, which is like, I don't know, probably an interesting dynamic to go from that environment to being invited into like high society and then kind of like knowing that you're not really an insider in that society, but you're welcomed from the people, you know? That would be
Yeah.
interesting. Um,
Yeah.
and I
Um,
don't
I thought
Mr. Knightley and Mr. Martin, Robert Martin in this one was really sweet. I like that they played up their
I
friendship
know.
and their connection, you know?
I did too. And I love seeing him walk into Donwell Abbey and then he gets like nervous and is like about to leave. And then
Mhm.
he like turns back to ask to see if he approves of him proposing to Harriet.
Yeah.
Sweet. And
Yeah, I like that.
I like Donwell Abbey. It's kind of spooky.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful house, but
Yeah.
huge. My goodness.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my gosh, but like so B and I watched the last episode together, like
mhm.
as a watch party. And whenever Mr. Knightley like has everybody over for strawberry picking and Donald Abbey, he goes, look, you might be mistress of this place. And she's like, oh no. And I'm like, Knightley,
He was trying to plant that little seed of I love you.
but I know, but it went right over her head. It was like, whoop,
I
like,
know. My
it
gosh.
was sweet. I liked that. It was
Not easy
super.
being in the friend zone, you know?
Yeah, I know. I did notice though, the devotional I did about unhealthy, or no, you did. I think you did it. Or did I do it? I think I did it. I can't remember. But
About
anyway, it doesn't matter.
unhealthy
And
relationships, that was
yeah,
you.
I think it was me. Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Harriet says, I would not give up the pleasure of your friendship for anything in the world. And it's like, that's so unhealthy.
Yeah.
Poor
Yeah,
thing.
I know that's true. Have you ever known, I feel like, I don't know if you have, but I've known this where I've known like a group of guys and even a group of girls where it's like they're so comfortable with their friendship that they close out all of these dating opportunities because they're just hanging out with each other, you know? And then it's like, do you want to date other
Oh,
people? And
yeah.
I'm like, well, yeah, I want to date them, but they don't want to like give up the convenience and the comfort that they have with like
Yeah.
their friendships, you
No,
know?
for sure.
It's kind of,
I had friends and drove me nuts. I had friends that would just disappear like after they got a boyfriend.
oh yeah, that's hard. I don't like
It's super unhealthy.
that.
Like I really didn't understand that because it's like that makes you become like codependent on each other.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
I don't know.
Because you're in a
I was
bubble
a little
instead of in
bummed.
reality.
For sure. And then if that ever breaks, the bubble breaks for
Yeah.
whatever reason, you're like crap. I'm
Mhm.
alone in a bubble in the middle of the sea. Um, so I was sad that Mr. Knightley wasn't there to say, you made her too tall, Emma, after the
That's right.
likeness. Yeah, I was bummed. I was like, ugh, that's the best. Like, the best.
You
I
made
love
her
that
too
part.
tall. I know, and Emma's always like, "Ugh."
I know. It's so good. It's so good. I just
That
love
is funny.
those asides of being like, you're not as great as you think you are, but
Mhm.
okay. Like,
Like,
you know.
let me just remind you, you're mediocre.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
You're a little mediocre.
okay, let's talk Eltons for a
But
second. In
okay.
this version, we have
Yeah.
Blake Ritson as Mr. Elton, and then he later marries Christina Cole, which Christina Cole plays in North and South as Mr. Thornton's little sister.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Oh my gosh, I completely like. We should like get into North and South later on
oh
in our
my gosh, we
lives.
should because I
And when I,
love that one. I love it so much.
yeah, I loved that series. I really liked
Mhm.
that series.
A really, really good one. We'll save that too for another season. Um, but
Yeah.
Mr. Elton in this one, I thought he was actually pretty dreamy. Like he was good looking to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
You probably didn't think
I
he was good looking because we have
no
very different tastes.
no. I didn't think that he was ugly. I just like I don't know. I probably maybe if I met him in Jane Austen world in the 1800s, I probably would think he was super hot, especially because he's like talking about the Lord, on that podium. Because I love a man of God, but
Mm.
I do. I love a man of God. Um, but I kept on thinking he was gay. And so I
Oh,
just,
interesting.
yeah, like in my back of my head, I think it might have been the hair, the way it was styled. I just was
It
like, he's
was
probably
pretty
gay,
conscious.
you know?
Yeah, I could see that. I think
That's just the theater girl coming out in me. I just assume everyone's gay until you're straight, pretty much, because until you prove
well,
yourself to be straight.
that's probably a safe assumption in your line of work. Um, I didn't like him because of his character, but there were so many times in the show that I was like, if he was a nicer character, he would be so hot to me. Like, I
Yeah, he
think
would be
he's
adorable.
attractive. I think it's his
I,
eyebrows. He had really good eyebrows.
yeah, he would be adorable. I honestly, yeah, he kind of
Mhm.
reminded me a little bit of a Tim Burton character. Had
Oh,
that Tim Burton vibe.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he's so dark. I can see that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
But I enjoyed him. I thought he was again, it was like the way he was directed, I guess. I mean, it was the perfect mix of the little over the top, but still realistic. Like
mhm.
you still would meet somebody as realistic as he
Yeah.
was.
I loved the line where
Ridiculous, I mean.
yes. I loved the line where Knightley was watching him right away and he's like, that man is so full of himself. I'm surprised he can stay on his own horse.
I know, right? I know.
So great.
Um,
And then
yeah.
Mrs. Elton, her character was written so well. Like they gave her so many lines. I feel like in this one it was so much more evident and obvious how condescending she was to everyone
Yep.
around her and how
Yeah.
she like really blatantly was slighting them. Like when Emma hosted them over for dinner as kind of like a welcome to the newly married couple and they have the dinner party and she's just like such a brat and saying all of the things of like, oh, it'd be so great to have Frank Churchill here because we really are lacking in sophisticated company here, as she's like sitting in front of these people that have invited her and that are like
Yeah.
sophisticated kind people and they're like, wow, okay, like
Yeah.
we're
My
lacking in that, huh?
I yeah, my thing with Mrs. Elton is I think that she like no other guy would put up with that bull crap. And so she
Right.
had to kind of marry down in a sense because who wants to put
Yeah.
up with that bull crap? Like Mr. Knightley says, men of sense do not want silly wives.
Yeah. Well, I think they were both so high, I don't know, just like had such a high opinion of themselves that they really were a great compatible match for each other because they could sit there and turn up their nose at everyone around them
Yeah.
and be like, yeah, we are so much better than that person, rah, 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 rah," because
Yeah.
they felt that way, even though it wasn't the truth.
Yeah. I know. I really liked that Emma was putting away the flowers during the argument with Mr. Knightley about Harry and Robert. I thought that like was a good touch. And I
Mhm.
also liked in this version how they reused her dresses and that was so
Yes.
realistic. Like and I liked that. So
Yeah.
realistic, you know?
Yeah, that no, I'm so glad you said that because that was one thing that I noticed and I really liked how she'd be wearing a certain dress and then she would like add the high collar or the sleeves to it. And so throughout the scene, you would see that she was like in a summertime dress and then she would like add the extra layer if it was like night and getting cold or anything like that. I just thought it was so genius. And
Yeah.
it just was like pretty little details that just make you really feel part of the story.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
liked that a
It
lot.
does. I know. Cuz I liked it. It has the flashbacks of that we like from the Kate Beckinsale version. It has the beautifulness that we like in the new version and then it has
Mhm.
like that romantic air that we love in the Gwyneth Paltrow version. So it's just
Mhm.
it's just like a perfect mix of everything.
Yeah, it
Really,
was it was good. Really I don't think
yeah.
there was actually anything in this version that I didn't enjoy.
I didn't either. No, nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, the only things were me noticing little things of like, which like I knew since I just read it was in the book and then been
Mhm.
like, oh, that's not there. But I mean, honestly, everything was so well done, it didn't bother me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
I loved her shawls and like so cute.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It made me want to like I sometimes just really want to bring back the fashion of shawls so badly.
I know. I know.
It'd be the best.
And I loved her hat when she the after she visits Harriet with the cold. I don't know. It's like this cute little hat. It's not a beret, but it's like it kind of like goes to the back, has a little like tassel on it, and I like want it.
Oh
And
yeah. I know
I
which
don't
one you're talking
know.
about.
I don't know what I seriously want to have it, and I would wear it all the time, but I don't know what kind of hat it is, and like I don't know how to look it up. Anyway,
I don't know
so if
either. We'll find out.
listeners
We'll post it on
listeners
Instagram and you guys can
message
tell us.
us message us what kind of hat this is because I'm going to buy one and we're gonna wear it all the time. You and I.
We really should find somebody who's like a genius or like knows everything about historical clothes and have them
I
on the
actually have
podcast
a
with
friend
us.
that does, and so
Really?
yeah, I do.
Well, let's have her on with us.
All right, I seriously, well, I'll talk to her. I'll talk to her. Yeah, she's brilliant. Majored in historical costuming.
That's so
Works.
cool.
I mean, she worked for Disney for a while in historical costuming, but then, of course, everything that's happened. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
with like them letting people go. But anyway, but yeah, she's great. She's great. She
Hmm,
is yeah, she's great. Um, I'm just going through my notes, just making sure.
I know.
Uh,
So
Um,
one thing that I wrote down, I'll steal it while you're looking for your notes. I loved how they made like Highbury. They were just so good at showing it as like this little country, kind of a podunk place, but also really sweet and full of like good people and like it still had good society in it. But I loved how they portrayed the ball scene, that it really was like a country ball. Like the dancing was a little bit more
yes.
it was not as refined as you see in other Jane Austen scenes and things like that. And like the music was a little more like fiddle and country vibe. I loved it so much. I felt like it like really added a lot to the whole character. And then I just loved the writing of that scene, how you can see all of the
Yeah.
characters watching and the interactions and Mr. Knightley going up to Harriet to save her. And like the moment, it's the cutest part to me where he like asks her to dance and she tries to jump in and he's like, wait, so that they could like wait for the dance to get to the
I
right part for them to get.
know.
It was so cute. So I loved that. I just
So
felt like Highbury,
sweet.
it is so sweet. I just felt like they wrote the village of Highbury and like the feel of it and the sets and everything. They almost made it a character by itself, and I thought that that was just genius. A really, really good
Yes,
addition to the
it
show.
really was. And also, I love oh my gosh. No, I hate it. I lost my note. No.
Oh, I hate it when I do that.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, sorry. I know. When Harriet is crying over Mr. Elton, like in front of Miss Bates, and like Miss Bates is like completely clueless about it because Miss Bates is like, oh my God, they just got married. And
Yeah.
Harriet is like, and then I just Mr. Knightley, and to save the day again, he gives her a handkerchief.
Yeah. I know he's
So
like such a
sweet.
silent observer, but he like gets what's happening and he just kind of
Does
quietly
it?
does what he can. I
I
really
know.
love that.
Yeah. I love that too. And it reminds me, my dad carries a handkerchief with him everywhere.
Oh,
And so I like always would steal my dad's like handkerchiefs like in church and stuff if I needed them because I had a cold or whatever. And so he always would hand it to me. It's just
that's sweet.
wearing a handkerchief, having a handkerchief is the mark of a gentleman.
It's
Because
true.
it's kind of like Edward Ferris. It's like Edward Ferris, you know?
Oh, yes. F major.
F major.
what else are we supposed to say?
At the
Ah,
same
that's
time.
so funny.
I cannot. I can't believe we said that at the same time, though.
Ah, I love
Oh my
that.
God, that was hilarious.
That was so
Oh
funny.
man. So okay, I have a
Ah,
question about Mr. Frank Churchill.
oh,
Here we go
yes.
again. I feel
Let's talk about the Churchill here.
So I've noticed in these versions they either go for two different Franks. They either go for Pretty Boy Frank, which is like Ewan McGregor, and then the one Kate Beckinsale version,
Mhm.
or they go for the frat boy Ewan Frank Churchill. So which
Mhm.
is the one in this one, and then the one after that, very frat boy.
Now, when you
So like
say frat
which
boy, explain to me what your definition of frat boy is.
okay, like I just see them and I think that they're frat boys. I don't know why. I guess it's because like their eyes are kind of like slanty.
Oh, okay.
From, like, you know how like frat boys sometimes have like slanty eyes because they've been like drinking so much. I don't
Uh-huh.
know. Like
Is that why their eyes are slanty? Okay, are you saying like they're charming, kind of like I know I can get away with whatever I want kind of
yes.
attitude? Okay. Okay, I
Yeah.
get you. I
Like
get you.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You know who would make a really good Frank Churchill?
Who?
Zac Efron.
Yes, he would. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that would
Mm,
be really hard.
I love Zach.
I do too. Oh my God, I love him so much.
Oh, he's so great.
Mm,
Um,
I
okay,
know.
so sorry, I cut you off in your observation that you notice that they're either like pretty boy or they're frat boy. And in your opinion, this one, he was a
Yeah.
frat boy.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What's his bucket? Rupert Evans. Yeah, I thought he did such a good job with Frank Churchill
Oh yeah.
because he kind of I think it's sometimes hard to get the balance between being like, oh, I'm Frank Churchill, I get whatever I want, I can charm anyone, and I have a secret, like you can always kind of tell that there's something going on with him, but you're not really sure what, but they don't want to make it too evident that there's like secrets because it's so obvious to come out. And I think in this one,
Yes.
he did a really good job. And I don't know, I mentioned to you when we were watching the last episode that it kind of makes me sad because I really do adore the relationship that Emma and Frank Churchill have. I think it is a really endearing, fun relationship, but it's sad because he's kind of like manipulating everyone and he's definitely playing Emma for the fool a lot of the time. And so it's hard to like it completely, but then their interactions and like the flattery he gives her and her knowing like, it's flattery. I'm not into him. He's not really into me. Like when she thinks that maybe he is in love with her and maybe she is in love with him. And she's like, does he still love me? Like, how am I supposed to know? And then he sees her for that second. And he's like, oh, hi, I need to go say hi to this person. And he walks away and she's like, he does not love me. Okay. And like, that's it.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
their relationship a lot. But then there's that other side where you're like, he's such a liar and he is totally using people and not really being genuine. And that's sucky. But I don't know. I like how they played that in this one. I think they had a good actor for that.
Yeah, they did. And I think that Jane is it's hard because with her being so reserved, it's hard to know how she actually is.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a feeling that she is like a good person. And so I'm hoping that their relationship will be a lot like Mr. and Mrs. Weston's relationship in the future,
Yeah. I think so.
Well, that's my hope with them.
Mine too. Jane
But
deserves the best. Well, and they also did a really good job writing for Jane in this one of kind of showing her stand up to Mrs. Elton several times and be like,
yes.
okay, I'm not going to be taken advantage or treated this way, even if that is my situation that I'm going to have to be a
Yeah.
governess, you know? Um, and I
Mhm.
really liked how they kind of played Emma's relationship with Jane Fairfax, how like Emma is the one in the wrong because she doesn't like Jane to begin with. But then Jane comes into town and she's like, what is her problem? She doesn't like me. And, rah, 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 rah. And later we find out that that's the truth because Jane Fairfax had a problem with Emma because she felt unstable in her relationship with Frank Churchill. And Emma was like the reason for that in her mind, you know? But then you see
Yeah.
Emma kind of standing up for Jane or trying to like help her out a couple times. And then later when everything
Mhm.
comes out, they have that conversation where Emma's like, I hope now we can be friends. And she's like, please forgive me for like not being kind to you or whatever. And she's like, no, it's all forgiven. It's fine. Like, I loved that. I thought that was such a good thing. And they don't really have that in a lot of the other versions of
I
Emma.
Yeah, I know. Well, and I really enjoyed this Jane so much. I
Yes.
thought she was great. Her heart-shaped face, her
Mm-hmm.
the way that she portrayed like the different emotions, and I just thought she did a really great job. And I totally would believe that she was related to her aunt. Like they
Yeah.
looked alike. They
Mm-hmm.
almost sounded alike a little bit, and I just thought it was good. What did you think of Miss Bates? Because I know you said that you didn't like some of the Miss Bates.
Oh, I did like her in this one. My favorite Miss Bates is still the Gwyneth Paltrow version,
Yeah,
Miss Bates. She is just so good.
so
But
funny.
this one
She
I
is.
actually I did like her a lot in this one. It was another one of the same things. The first episode, I was like, okay, just another annoying Miss Bates. But then as I watched more of the episodes, I really liked her.
Yeah, she
And
would made me cry for sure. Like, ugh,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, because you kind of like have more of a tenderness towards her, I think, than the other Miss Bates.
Well, and it's
Um,
very heartbreaking seeing the house that she lived in before.
oh my gosh, right? That scene at the beginning of the first episode where they're telling the story of these three little children, and you see it at a moment with Miss Bates talking to Mrs. Bates right after the sister has just died, Jane's mother, and they're trying to figure out what to do with this little girl. And they're talking about sending her to the Campbells. And Mrs. Bates is like, we can't send her away.
Oh, so
And then
sad.
Miss Bates was like, Mother, we're gonna have to get a smaller house anyway. We can't afford this girl either. And it is like the most heartbreaking scene because you're just like,
Yeah.
what a terrible reality to be faced with. Like,
And that little actress that plays little Jane, I was like near tears when she was like has her hands pulled up and like looking, and her chin was like quivering. Oh my
yes.
god. That was so
Yeah.
sad because she's like going away into like to someone she doesn't know. Like that's a terrifying thing as a kid. Like
Yeah, I know. Like
awful.
what a tough situation that Miss Bates had to like make all of those judgment calls for her family and
I
manage
know.
finances that just kept getting smaller and smaller. That's so sad. So it does make you like love and appreciate them. Also, I love how Mr. Woodhouse loves the Bates so much. He like
Yes.
really loves them.
So sweet. It is so
Um,
sweet.
Also, I
Well,
really liked Mr. Woodhouse in this one. I think that they did
too.
such great writing to make him really sweet and endearing and kind of childlike himself, you know.
Yeah.
It was really sweet.
Yeah. When the scene when Emma's leaving for her honeymoon and he's like crying, it was all so
Oh,
sad.
I know. I was thinking about that today. It's probably good that they didn't tell him that they were going to the seaside because remember how he was like, I almost died at sea once I know it.
Yeah, I know.
He would have been like,
I
she'll die
know.
for sure.
I know.
Um,
Well, and I was telling you when we were in our watch party, when we were watching, I was like, I'm so glad that they added the C in this one because none of the other versions do it. And I know it's in the book. Like I remember it. And
yeah.
but who's to say that I could be wrong? Watch me like finish it and it's like, oh, it's not even in there anymore. Oh, okay. I guess I made that up in my head. But yeah, but I just really like I just think that's really cool that because he does bring her to the sea and it's sweet.
Yeah, that is a really sweet gesture on his part because she like mentions that to her nephews when they're in town, how she's like, I think it's so unfair that you've seen the seaside and I have not, you know?
I know. I
So
know.
that was really cute.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I wrote about this about Frank Churchill. I said, "What a prick." When he says when she dances like a cold fish. I think I would rather have the aunt than the niece.
I know he is so mean about Jane Fairfax, and I do not understand. I do
This
not
wasn't
understand it.
needed. That's the thing I don't get. It's like that's not needed. Like you didn't have to say that. You still could have kept your relationship secret. You don't have to
Yeah.
talk bad about her.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like
Well, and I think, okay, again, I don't remember. Claudia, I'm losing my mind about what's in the book or not. But like
I know
when
I
they're
am too.
when they're at Box Hill and they have that moment where Frank is being like such a little twit and he's throwing his hissy fit and making everyone uncomfortable. And he says something about like, oh, better to not be married than to like marry somebody on a whim, like not knowing somebody long enough, you know? And he's kind of
Yes,
like
that.
saying that to like Jane to make her upset, you know, because
Yeah.
obviously we know as the audience that they are secretly engaged. And he's like, there's kind of some tension between them at this point, you know? And then Jane says something back how she's like, well, maybe if somebody doesn't have the steadiness of character, that would be a problem, but you can like you can hold your commitment stronger than that or something along those lines. And I don't think definitely in any movie I've seen there wasn't that writing for Jane's character of her like biting back. But I don't know if I can't remember if that's what she said
I'm
in the book or
on
not.
the Box Hill part right now. Like the
Oh,
chapter I'm
perfect.
reading tonight is the Box Hill one.
Okay,
So,
good. Tell me.
yeah.
I think I have like two
Yeah.
chapters before I'm there.
Yeah. So, I'm almost there. For sure. That is, you know what's interesting is the Jane in the 2021 is really like bitter and grumpy, and I don't like that. I liked this Jane where she was
Hmm.
pleasant. I don't think she's
Yes.
bitter and grumpy.
No, no, I think she was actually a very, very sweet, awesome character. And if we had been able to see her outside of that trial and the stress of being like, is this man still in love with me or not? And
Yeah.
what am I going to do with my future? You know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah. I know.
um,
I just loved I talked about Emma's dresses and like um the uh I like it when like Emma's hiding behind the bush when Mr. Knightley is like
that is so something I would do.
I know.
I've totally done crap like that where it's like, oh no, they can't see me.
Yeah, exactly. For real. It's
I love
funny.
that. I do also really love Emma's like clarity or realizations when everything comes out about Frank being engaged. And she's like, he has used us abominably. He like manipulated me. He didn't know that I wasn't in love with him. And like poor Jane, she had to sit there and watch him flirt and make a fool of himself in front of me. And like she just kind of realizes all of those moments. And I love it because it's like this whole time she's had frustrating like conversations with Knightley because she's like, you don't like Frank and I don't understand why, but it's clear you don't. And then all of a sudden when she gets all the information, she's like, yeah, there is a problem with this guy. You know, he's been acting, you know,
Yeah.
it's really a
A big
great,
problem.
yeah, and it's such a good like realization for her where she like really sees the issue, you know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
liked
yeah,
that a
yeah.
lot.
I did too. I did too. Oh, did I make my correction about last week's episode yet?
Oh no, go ahead
No.
with that.
Okay, I have to do a corrections, whatever you want to call it, corrections time. I kept on saying Frank, and then for some reason I kept on saying his mom, and it's his aunt that dies, not his mom. Like his mom that had already died in the beginning. I don't know why I kept on saying that, so I said that. Then in my letter to Frank, I said that because we write these letters every week. I don't know if some of you guys don't know, to different Jane Austen men. Anyway, my letter, I said that he created these like the words Blunder and Dixon, and to make fun of Jane. I said that he did that during the I said that he did that during the
Fox Hill.
at Box Hill Picnic, but he didn't. He did that like when they were on a walk and then they stopped in Hartfield. So anyway, my bad. But when Frank writes me back, he'll tell me that I was wrong.
Oh, I'm sure he will. He'll be like, dear sweet lady.
Can I just tell you, like, so you guys were writing to Mr. Knightley this week? Can I just tell you, like, how I've never been more like starstruck to write to a fictional character?
I know you're like really giddy about this.
I know.
I'm like, how am I going to say the things I want to say? And you're like,
I know. Well, the thing is like, I get giddy. Like, I get giddy with this because it's, I guess, because since I like am an actress. So like, okay, like for example, I like at Titanic, whenever we could like choose the passenger to play, I chose Madeline Astor because she was like 18 on board. Her story's kind of scandalous. She's married to like a guy who's like, 26 years older, the richest man on board and stuff. And so anyway, and she's like pregnant and like trying to hide it. It's like really scandalous. Anyway, so my friend played Mr. Astor, and like he's gay, and he's like, but he is like literally we're 26, 20 something around the same distance apart in age.
Okay.
We're both older than the characters, but or the character, I meant passengers. These were real people. But like, I was just like the day that we got to do that and like be in front of guests, and like I was so giddy, and I was like, even though it was fake, but I was like, oh my god, like we're married. But I get like that with like my stage like boyfriend sometimes too. I'm like, oh my god, like we're together. you know.
That's so funny.
I know. I get so weird about that.
Are they ever like,
so
this is
weird.
fake, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the like about like 80, no, I would say 98% of the time they're gay. So it doesn't matter. But yeah, I just get all like, oh my god, like we're together.
That's funny.
It is so weird. Because I remember like the guy that played Mr. Astor with me, he was like, you are giddy. Look at you. Like, what is, I was like, I know, I just
get listen, we all need to get excited about something in life. So that's okay.
It's weird. It's so weird. Oh my gosh. Okay. I examined my own heart, and there you were.
Oh,
never to be removed. Oh
my gosh. You guys, like, talk about right in the feels. My line that I just kept writing over and over again from this one was, will you dance, dear Emma?
Oh, yes.
Love that. Oh my gosh.
So perfect.
Okay. Well, since we have just talked for so long about this, what is like your biggest thing that you really loved about this well, I guess this is the last episode we're doing about Emma. So what's your big thing that you love about Emma? What's your takeaway from Emma?
That's a good question. My takeaway from Emma would be I think really just to take care of like your community, because like that that's how in Highbury they really like take care of each other. Even the Eltons, who are awful people, they still take care of them. They still invite them and include them. And even though Emma doesn't want to, but Mr. Knightley is like, girl, we gotta, do that. I just think, and that's the thing I see is like, I wish that there was like an Emma 2 where we could see how like Mr. and Mrs. Knightley, how they take care of people in Highbury. Yeah. And so I just think really like taking care of your community and also loving people where they're at, which is like something Emma learned big time, to love them where they're at and to not try to like force them into like some sort of square peg into a round hole, basically.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good one. That's like, I think you're so on the money there of loving people where they're at. That is such a good lesson you can learn from Emma.
Yeah.
I think, oh gosh, I think Emma is probably one of my favorite Jane Austen books. So I've loved starting with this one.
I
But
know.
I just love the idea that like you can grow and you can learn, you know. Um, but also like I think the friendship is just really what is so great about this one, that you can be lifted up by your friendships and you can like edify your life and other people's lives through friendships, and you can find so much love and like betterment in your life
Mhm.
from that. So I
Yeah.
think that's so great. I love Emma. I'm gonna miss it. I'm kind of sad that
I
this is the
know.
last one.
I know, I'm kind of sad too. But we still have like all of our devotionals, so we're still like,
Yes.
I think we have like 6 left or something. So that's good.
Yep.
But it still is sad that we're like leaving, and I know.
Hmm.
But that's what we need to go into after we're done with all of the 6 novels. We definitely need to go into like I really would love to go into Jane Austen fan fiction land.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, where it's like yeah, because I have a book, like a Jane Fairfax book that's like from her perspective. And so we would just be reading
Mm,
Emma again. It's just with like the Jane Fairfax. So I think that would be like a good book for us to read. And
okay,
yeah,
I'm
there's so
down.
much. Like we like are gonna be podcasting until we're like 73, like if not longer.
Until we're as old as Miss Bates. Um,
I know.
that's
Yeah,
perfect. That'd be so fun. And I'm
I know.
excited because next month we start on Mansfield Park, which I don't think I've ever read that book all the way through. And I'm excited to like read it and really get into that one. So
Mhm.
so guys, next episode we'll be starting into
Yeah.
Mansfield
Well, and
Park.
I've read it. Yeah, and I think I've read it twice, but I honestly can't remember. But
Mhm.
it's okay. Here's the thing with Mansfield Park. I was talking to you about this earlier. It's like Mansfield Park has never been one of the Austins where I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna like pop it in and like for an afternoon. I've never been like,
Mhm.
oh, let's do Mansfield Park. It's always like, let's watch Sense and Sensibility. Let's like watch Northanger. Let's watch Pride and Prejudice. Let's watch Emma. It's never
Mhm.
been Mansfield Park, and I feel bad because I like Fanny. I think Fanny is so good and so great, and she's a lot like Jane Fairfax, sort of in a way. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, we just have to do this for Fanny, for Fanny.
That's the worst name ever created.
I so
Ah,
yeah, we'll be okay. We'll be okay.
yeah,
Yeah, it'll
we'll
be
get
good.
this.
Well, it's kind of ironic though that we're reading Mansfield Park on the year like anniversary of all of this of the world just completely blowing up, because it's kind of like
Yeah.
Fanny, it's kind of like she's like us, and then everywhere all the other people's like the world like this of 2020, like like she's like, what is going on in my life, like
Yeah. Well, that's pretty true. We'll probably find a lot of parallels there that we can talk about.
I know.
So
Yeah, it'll be good.
that'll be fun.
It'll be good. I just don't want to leave Highbury.
No, me neither.
We need to create our own Highbury.
Okay. Let's live there forever.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All
So
right.
let's do our little closeout sequence of our lowlights and
Yes.
our highlights for the week.
Okay.
Do you have a low light?
I'm opening it up right now. Hang on. I know you're probably going to edit this part out. Doo, 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 doo. oh, so my low is it's kind of like a mixture of a low and high. I have been able to clean a little bit. So I did have Sunday off, which was awesome. But like
Okay.
I was so exhausted from the week that I like just slept like the majority of the day. Which is why like I'm like, ugh, I really need 2 days off so I can like that can be
Mhm.
my rest day, and then I have my other day to like finish my cleaning. But I finally started to like clear things out. Like I have a closet full of crap that I'm like trying to like get rid of some stuff, and so that's all out. So I like started. So it's kind of a low light and a highlight, kind of like of it's in the works. I just wish I had like more time to to do it, but I'll get there.
Mhm. Yeah.
I have my mom's best friend from 4th grade who I'm really close with is coming to stay with me for a night because she's
Aw.
a Disney like vacation planner and she's awesome. And she's like coming for a night. And so I have to have it cleaned by then. So like I have like a
You have a
time that I have to have it
deadline.
done. Yes, a deadline. So yeah, I'll get there.
Oh, that's good. That'll be so good. But yeah, the getting there is sometimes not as fun. So
Yeah, it's hard for
it
sure.
is hard.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good low light, I think. My low light is I was just sick all weekend and I felt awful. And I was telling Claudia that I haven't gotten sick in like over a year. And I mean, what a great time to not get sick this last year has
Yeah.
been. But because I was sick for the first time ever, I just felt awful, like so awful. And I'm finally feeling better today. And I'm sure I'm going to be totally fine and back to normal tomorrow. But like, oh my gosh, I just felt awful. And it's sad when it's on a weekend because you just want to like have fun on the weekends.
I
And instead,
know.
I was in bed all day. So
Yeah.
that's my low light, but I-
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
healthy. So
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So she was telling me that, well, when you got your COVID test yesterday or whatever, and then
Mhm.
you like Marco Polo B and you were like, I'm negative.
I was so confused. I mean, I'm so grateful that I was negative, but I
Yeah.
got it back and I was like, really? I have like every symptom that should be pointing towards COVID and it's negative. Interesting.
That
So,
is so funny. Yeah.
but
It's crazy.
but
Yeah.
better negative than positive in this situation.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, what's your highlight?
Um, so my highlight is I got cast in a show, another show.
Yay! Which show gets the honor of
Yay.
having you? Oh,
It's a Pippin.
you got Pippin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm playing like I'm playing his grandma.
That's gonna be
Which is
so fun.
I know, which is like a really funny and good role because she has like a really great song. So I'm excited.
Uh-huh.
It'll be fun. And I'm just like, it's gonna be so ridiculous. Like
Oh my goodness.
it's fun. Yeah.
That's so
Cause
exciting. Congrats.
thanks. The song is very like "Wah, sa, ba, la, wa, la, 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 la." So it's like very like like so I gotta like put on my old age makeup and like
Oh, that's gonna be so fun.
so ridiculous.
It's fun to do roles like that though. Like you kind of,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about being like pretty or perfect. And so it like you
Yes.
just
Yeah,
feel
it's
more
fun.
creative. So that's so
Yeah.
cool. Yay. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Um, Well, my highlight was I planned out several trips with a friend that we're going to do this summer between like doing camping or we're running a couple half marathons and so we're just finding like the different cities that we're going to and stuff like that and it just made me so excited for spring and summertime and the good weather and being able to just go camping whenever you want. So, I'm just really like excited for those things to happen now.
Yeah.
So something to look forward to. Hasn't happened yet, but this summer will
Mhm.
be really fun for that. So if you
Yeah.
guys haven't made plans to go camping, do it at least once.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. The last time I went camping was a disaster.
Really?
Um, yeah, I went with my two friends and like, okay, so first of all, it was like my friend's husband worked for like a, I don't know, like, I guess like a floating the river service where they provided the
Okay.
boats free to float the
Hmm.
river. So my friend and one of our other friend was working. And so we float the river by ourselves. And when I tell you, it was like literally the funniest thing ever because we're rowing and then all of a sudden we just keep on like going in circles and we're like screaming because like the tide is like, we're like, ah! Get back. And then this was years ago. And then we pick up this random guy like on the side because he told us he knew where to go.
Oh,
And then he was like drunk. And so
oh
like
my
he comes
gosh,
in
Claudia.
and we're just like, what is wrong? And then we finally were like, you're useless. So then we like go out to the side and throw him out. And then my friend gets out and her knees are really bad. And so she all of a sudden like randomly she's had surgery on it now, so it's better. But she used to just randomly like fall
Oh my gosh.
So she like was standing there, and all of a sudden she was just gone, and she's like flat on the ground. Like when we were trying to get him to go. And then she like and then we were caught in this tree like with our boat, and she like jumps in the water to like help, and I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like, your phone is in there, and she's like, no.
Oh no.
She has her backpack on.
Oh no. You guys were not
Horrible.
prepared.
And then no, and then so then that's not even the half it. Then we went camping. Like then we camped that night. We set
Uh-huh.
up our tent. None of us knew how to set up a tent, so it's awful.
Uh-huh.
So we set it up. Then it started storming really bad, and our
Oh
tent
no.
fills up with water, and so we're all soaked to the bone. And like literally at like this like Jimmy's egg at like 3:30 in the morning, like.
That is the worst when your bedroll or something gets wet when you're camping. It's just like, well, let's just go home now. This is ruined.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Okay. I will say
Anyway, but yeah, so that was my last experience camping. So I'm not a big fan of camping.
Okay, can we go camping though? Because I'm a much better camper and I'll keep you safe.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. If you like, because like, just as long as it's not in Florida, I don't want to camp in Florida
Oh, okay.
because of the alligators.
Oh yeah, ew, no, let's not do that. Oh, okay. One of my favorite things when
No,
you're going camping
because
with
they,
friends
yeah,
is like you get everyone out there camping, and the first night is like so fun because everyone's like excited. You're like, oh, we're out in nature. There's this fire. Look at the stars. Like everyone's just like in such a good mood, and you're like joking and laughing and sharing stories. Then you go to sleep, and the next morning is when shiz gets real, and you just wake up and you look at everyone, and everyone's like, ugh, like my back hurts. I feel bad. Like, where's the faucet? I need to wash my face. Like, everyone just feels so out of it. And I'm like, oh, suddenly it's not so fun anymore. It just makes me laugh every time.
no,
So I know camping's
I
not
know.
everyone's cup of tea, but
Yeah,
I love it. I love camping.
yeah. Or
That is so funny.
glamping. I think glamping would be fun.
Oh, I love glamping too.
Yeah.
We'll go glamping. That's more of
Mhm.
tea with Claudia and B style.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
you guys.
So
Well,
we have internet to like go live and stuff.
oh
So,
yeah.
okay. Well, we'll see you guys like on Instagram.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Make sure that you
Oh yeah, what?
sorry.
Yeah.
There was the lag there for us. Make sure that you're following us on Instagram because we do post a lot of content
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So you can follow us and see all of the devotionals that we do. We do them several times a week. And it's really fun. And then make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast so that you get the new episodes when they come out. And we would love it. It would be so helpful if you rated us and left a comment on there. It could even just be something of like who your favorite character from Emma is, but leave us a comment and we would love that so much, you guys.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, we love hearing from you guys. We've loved the messages that we've gotten this week. Like so
Yeah.
happy, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's so
Thanks so
fun.
much for
It's
taking the
super
time.
fun. So we
Mhm.
love chatting. Obviously, it's why we started this and why we like even met. So
Yeah, it's kind of our whole thing.
yeah.
Ah.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys later.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, I stopped that. Bye, YouTube.
Bye. Wait, let me get the button. Okay, bye, YouTube.